The Prime Minister expressed disgust in the manner in which the opposition leader seeks to malign the character of Desmond Morgan, a person who has a legitimate loan at the state-owned National Commercial Bank.
Honest man called Desmond Morgan, who is being traduced and maligned by the leader of the opposition and others from the opposition about a banking transaction. And I can speak about an honest man in relation to his dealings with the National Commercial Bank. Desmond Morgan and other Vincentians, young entrepreneurs, form a company called Blue Sky Communication, call center operations out at Arnesville. Let me just say, the fact that you owe money, that your business failed, and you owe money doesn't mean that you're dishonest. It means that your business failed. That is why we have bankruptcy laws, and we had changed the old bankruptcy laws so that people can get an opportunity to fall and rise again. Not to say that Mr. Morgan is anywhere near bankrupt, as I shall describe. His company, of which he was one of the shareholders and he had other business associates, took a loan at the bank, which with interest, as we have now heard, is in excess of $2 million, just in excess of $2 million. What Mr. Eustace did not say to anybody, what Douglas De Freitas did not say on the radio to anybody, nor Matthew Thomas, nor any of the other propagandists, is that the bank was holding for him property, his house and 3 parcels of land valued at almost $4 million. At no time was Mr. Morgan's or Blue Sky's debt unrecoverable. They were holding legal mortgages. I didn't go and inquire about Mr. Morgan's business before, but once they're talking, I have to inquire into everything. And I will tell you what I knew from before and how I had acted. Because in November or thereabouts, 2008, the chief executive officers of the bank drew to my attention that Blue Sky Desmond Morgan account was in arrears. Once I was told that, I called Mr. Morgan and informed him that I was removing him as the shareholder of the bank. I was removing him from the chairmanship of the bank. I didn't have to come and tell the world that when I did that in November, December 2008. No, I acted. And I acted demonstrating good governance. And this is the man whose wife is the Attorney General and who supports the Unity Labour Party. But despite that, once I was told that his accounts were in arrears, in November 2008, I acted. That is what you call good governance. That is what you call leadership. I informed the bank when it was drawn to my attention what I was going to do. And I say, I am not interfering with you in any way. As you know, I do not interfere with any account at the bank. You carry out whatever processes of recovery that you wish in relation to your clients. But I address the issue first of good governance. The bank, in pursuance of good corporate governance, sought to make the surety of the legal mortgages doubly sure. They gave instructions to one of their lawyers to put the matter in court. Who was one of the lawyers they chose? Who was the lawyer they chose? A Labour man, Arthur Williams. Again indicating how this government functions. That the bank again acted in the highest traditions of its good corporate governance to seek to collect whatever monies were owed, for which they have legal mortgages, but to have a court order to make the surety of the legal mortgage doubly sure. So in all of this, there was no, the hullabaloo here, and everybody is asking for explanation. And Shelley Clark in the newspaper is editorializing how people could get money out of the bank. So the bank lends money. They would have gone with a good business proposal. But the bank didn't lend the money without security. This is vastly different than the sweetheart mortgages, which the NDP, National Commercial Bank at the time, gave to ministers, and I will come to that on other matters. Because it's one thing the NDP can't talk to me about, the issue of corruption. They were the masters of corruption in government. And this government, at the ministerial level, is free of that.
Dr. Ralph Gonsalves noted that there is no corruption in the Unity Labour Party government.
I don't see you have official corruption with the ministers of the ULP government. They have to show me that. Bring the evidence for me. But I could talk about NDP on. And the country knows about it. From ordinary things to beyond ordinary things. Now, Mr. Eustace, in his very self-serving and dishonest statement, because to the extent that a man would know the full facts and reveal it not, he would have lied. And lying is an abomination unto the Lord. The same way that he got the documents from the courthouse about the legal action against Desmond Morgan and Blue Sky, he could have gotten the documents with the legal mortgage, because the legal mortgages are also registered in the courthouse. But what did he say? Well, he hopes, he says, a good thing that the bank went to court, and he hopes that the bank can get back their money, but never ever spoke about the worth of the man in relation to the assets which the bank has a mortgage, legal mortgage over. Now, he says he is dropping a bomb. What is this bomb? I don't know, because I can't find out which is a bomb. If this was the bomb, what I'm about to talk about, it's a dud. He said that Desmond Morgan, words to this effect, sought to avoid paying the debt by forming a company called Omega to give the government, to give the bank $2 million worth of shares. No. I don't believe that Mr. Eustace is so ignorant of how different arrangements can be made to address a debt at a bank. The idea which was mooted, which was not followed through on, was that the bank would agree for the properties of $4 million, the house and the 3 parcels of land, to be put into this company. And the share certificates would be deposited with the bank, including the transfer of shares, that if Morgan or Blue Sky didn't pay by a particular date, they will simply transfer all the shares to the National Commercial Bank, making the National Commercial Bank the owner of all the property which was transferred. So that was another possibility of the recovery of the debt. And such an instrument exists. And if Mr. Eustace knows anything about finance, that has existed in several countries in this Caribbean, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Well, Mr. Aiton at the National Commercial Bank, the chief executive officer, he knows about that taking place in Cayman and in Barbados and other countries, but that was not pursued. So this thing about, to explain this mystery as they're presenting it, is no mystery. It was a manner of getting the debt, getting the security realized. And there are different ways in which you can realize it. You know, the banks could have gone, I've been advised without going to court, and simply exercise their power of sale under the legal mortgage. But they wanted to make sure, doubly sure, they have a court judgment. And the order of the court binds all of his property. And if, incidentally, if he has property, and I understand that he has other real property, other than those 3 parcels and his house, the judgment will bind those 2, you know, even though they were not part of the mortgage deeds. Because the judgment of the High Court binds all real property, because the judgment has to be satisfied. I can't understand how a transaction, which is a business transaction, where there is enough equity, enough property, more than enough to satisfy the debt, has become a political issue.